Zatanna vs. Scarlet Witch. It's the matchup that comic fans have debated for decades, a true clash of titans between two of the most powerful magic users in their respective universes. Now, I know what you're thinking, haven't we seen this debate a million times? Well, today, we're going deep, analyzing not just their raw power, but their tactics, their weaknesses, and the specific scenarios that would crown a definitive winner. So grab your popcorn, suspend your disbelief, and let's get ready for a magical showdown for the ages. First, let's establish the contenders. In the DC corner, we have Zatanna Zatanna, the mistress of magic. The daughter of the legendary magician Giovanni Zatanna, she inherited his unique ability to cast spells by speaking backwards. Her powers are, for all intents and purposes, limitless. If she can say it backwards, she can make it happen. She can transmute matter, manipulate the elements, heal fatal wounds, warp reality, and even mess with time itself. She's a member of the Justice League Dark for a reason, folks. When the supernatural threats get too heavy for even Superman to handle, she's the one they call. Her control is precise, honed through years of stage magic and real-world combat. But, and this is a big but, her power is tied to her voice and her concentration. If she can't speak, she's in serious trouble. And in the Marvel corner, the challenger, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. Her history is a bit more complicated, originally a mutant, then a being touched by the High Evolutionary, and now recognized as a true witch connected to chthonic chaos magic. Her power is raw, reality-bending chaos. At her peak, she can rewrite existence on a planetary, and even multiversal scale. We all remember No More Mutants. With just 3 words, she nearly wiped out an entire species. Her hex bolts can manipulate probability, causing guns to jam, buildings to crumble, or pretty much any other unlucky thing you can imagine. And like Zatanna, she doesn't always need to speak, often relying on gestures or pure force of will. Her major weakness, however, has always been her mental and emotional stability. When Wanda loses control, things get very, very bad for everyone around her. So, the stage is set. Let's break this down into a few key rounds. Round 1, the quick draw. Who gets the first spell off? This is where things get interesting. Zatanna is incredibly fast. A single reversed word, spoken in a fraction of a second, is all she needs. Pots. And her opponent is stopped dead in their tracks. We've seen her disarm entire rooms of armed thugs before they can even blink. Wanda, on the other hand, can also be incredibly fast, launching hex bolts with a simple flick of the wrist. In a scenario where they start 100 feet apart and the bell rings, I think Zatanna has a slight edge. Her go-to move is often something incapacitating but non-lethal. A quick peels could put Wanda to sleep instantly. Zatanna is a performer. She's used to reacting quickly and thinking on her feet. Wanda's power is more like a force of nature, taking a moment to build and focus. So, in a quick draw, I'm giving the first shot to Zatanna. The question is, would that first shot be enough? Round 2, Power vs. Finesse. This is where the core of the debate lies. Is it better to have the raw and tame power of the Scarlet Witch or the precise, versatile control of Zatanna? Wanda's chaos magic is like a sledgehammer. It's devastatingly effective but can be messy and unpredictable. Her probability manipulation is a huge advantage. She could cause Zatanna's spells to fizzle, for her voice to crack, or for a random piano to fall from the sky. It's the ultimate wild card. Zatanna's magic, however, is a scalpel. She can do exactly what she intends to do, with no more and no less force than is necessary. She could say Egnakotni Rita and turn the air in Wanda's lungs to water. She could say Dianab and render Wanda completely immobile. The versatility is staggering. Zatanna has fought beings of immense cosmic power and won through sheer cleverness and application of her spells. She doesn't just throw power around, she solves problems with magic. While Wanda is trying to overwhelm her with raw chaos, Zatanna would be looking for the one perfect spell to end the fight. Now, Let's talk about their biggest weaknesses. We've touched on them, but let's put them under the microscope. For Zatanna, it's her reliance on speech. Take away her voice, and you've severely limited her. A powerful telepath could shut her down, or a simple gag could do the trick. Wanda is more than capable of using her magic to create a sound-dampening field or magically bind Zatanna's mouth. If Wanda is smart and ruthless, her first move should be to silence Zatanna. Ignorance. That's the spell Wanda needs to fear. For Wanda, her weakness is her own mind. Her power is tied to her emotional state. A calm, focused Wanda is a terrifying opponent. But a panicked, grieving, or enraged Wanda is a weapon of mass destruction that often hurts herself and her allies as much as her enemies. Zatanna is a master of illusion and mental manipulation in her own right. Could she exploit Wanda's trauma? Could she create an illusion of vision or her children to throw Wanda off balance? It's a dark path, but in a life-or-death fight, it's a valid tactic. Zatanna, being a more stable and experienced hero, would likely recognize Wanda's instability and could potentially use it against her. So, let's imagine the final battle. No prep time, both characters in their standard, powerful forms, meeting in a neutral city street. The fight begins. Zatanna, being the quicker thinker, immediately shouts "Pots." Wanda freezes for a split second, but her passive chaos magic kicks in. The spell isn't as effective as it should be. Probability shifts in her favor. It gives her the opening she needs. She unleashes a wave of red energy, not aimed at Zatanna, but at the ground beneath her feet, causing it to crack and crumble. Zatanna is thrown off balance, but she's an acrobat. She recovers midair, levitating with a quick towel. Realizing the danger, Zatanna goes for a more definitive solution. She knows she can't just keep throwing simple spells. She needs to end this. She begins to chant a more complex spell, something to neutralize Wanda's magic source. But Wanda isn't waiting. She sees Zatanna chanting and understands the threat. She doesn't try to counter the spell, she attacks the caster. With a scream, she unleashes a hex that targets Zatanna's vocal cords, not to silence them, but to twist her words. Zatanna tries to say Makodem, Shruopfokrad. But it comes out as a jumbled, powerless mess. She clutches her throat, surprised. Wanda presses her advantage, weaving a reality bubble around them, the world outside twisting into a chaotic landscape of melting clocks and floating fish, trying to overwhelm Zatanna's senses and break her concentration. But this is where Zatanna's true strength comes in. She's not just a walking spellbook, she's a Zatar. Magic is in her blood. She has cast spells by writing them in her own blood, by focusing her intent through objects. And even without words at all in extreme circumstances. Silenced and trapped in a nightmare world, she closes her eyes, focusing her will. She remembers her father's training. It's not just the words, it's the intent behind them. Wanda, believing she has won, approaches, red energy crackling around her fists. As she gets close, Zatanna's eyes snap open. She doesn't speak. She just thinks. And the universe obeys. The chaotic reality bubble shatters like glass. Wanda is thrown back, not by a physical force, but by a magical one. The magic she was wielding turns against her. Zatanna used her control to find the flaw in Wanda's own chaotic weaving and simply pulled the thread. The resulting backlash of chaotic energy overwhelms Wanda, knocking her unconscious. So, who wins? In my analysis, in a one-on-one, no-holds-barred fight, Zatanna takes it. Not because she's necessarily more powerful in terms of raw energy output. At her peak, House of M Wanda could and make Zatanna with a thought. But we're talking about their standard versions. And standard Zatanna is more controlled, more versatile, and more mentally resilient. Wanda's greatest strength, her chaos magic, is also her greatest liability. It's wild and unpredictable. Zatanna's magic is pure discipline. She is a surgeon in a world of butchers. While Wanda is throwing bombs, Zatanna is finding the one precise pressure point to win the fight. It would be an epic, reality-shattering battle, but in the end, Zatanna's combination of power, precision, and tactical genius gives her the edge. She's less likely to lose control and more likely to exploit her opponent's weakness. Of course, this is just my take on it. This is one of those classic matchups where you could argue for either side all day, and depending on the writer and the circumstances, the outcome could be completely different. What do you all think? Did I get it right? Is there a scenario where Wanda absolutely demolishes Z? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your arguments. And if you enjoyed this magical breakdown, be sure to cast a like spell on that button and subscribe for more nerdy deep dives. Thanks for watching.